Imagine a time of clashing swords and shifting empires. This was the world of the early 9th century. In the heart of the Balkans, a new leader was about to emerge. His name was Krum. We don't know the exact year he was born, but we know he took the throne of the Bulgarian Empire around the year 803. This was a pivotal moment in history. Bulgaria was a young, ambitious state surrounded by powerful neighbors. It needed a strong ruler, someone with vision and courage. Krum was exactly that man. He stepped onto the stage of history at precisely the right time, ready to shape the destiny of his people and challenge the mightiest empire of the age. Krum's origins are something of a mystery, which often adds to the legend of great historical figures. He was likely a nobleman from Pannonia, a region that is part of modern-day Hungary. He was a descendant of the powerful Dulo clan, the same clan that had founded the Bulgarian state over a century earlier. This noble lineage would have given him significant authority and respect among the other Bulgarian warlords and chieftains. When the previous ruler, Khan Kardam, passed away without a clear successor, the path was open for a new leader to prove his worth. Krum seized this opportunity, demonstrating his military skill and political intelligence to unite the Bulgarian tribes under his banner. His first major act as Khan was not against the famous Byzantine Empire to the south, but against the Avar Khaganate to the northwest. The Avars, once a fearsome power, were weakened by wars with the Frankish emperor Charlemagne. Krum saw his chance. In 805, he launched a decisive campaign, crushing the remaining Avar forces and annexing their lands. This victory was hugely important. It doubled the size of Bulgaria, extending its borders all the way to the Tisa River and the Carpathian Mountains. This expansion brought new wealth, resources, and people into the Bulgarian state, giving Krum the solid foundation he needed for the even greater challenges that lay ahead. With the Avars defeated, Krum had consolidated his power and secured his northern frontier. He was now the undisputed ruler of a much larger and more powerful Bulgarian empire. He had proven himself as a brilliant military strategist and a capable leader. His early victories sent a clear message to the world. Bulgaria was a force to be reckoned with. The stage was now set for the ultimate confrontation, a clash that would define his reign and echo through the centuries. Krum turned his gaze south towards the glittering prize of Constantinople and the ancient, powerful Byzantine Empire. The greatest chapter of his story was about to begin. The Byzantine Empire, the eastern successor to the Roman Empire, was the superpower of its day. Its capital, Constantinople, was the richest city in the world. The Byzantines saw the Bulgarians as barbarians on their doorstep, a constant threat to their northern provinces. The Byzantine Emperor, Nikephoros I, was a tough and experienced general. He was determined to crush the growing power of Bulgaria once and for all. In 809, Krum struck first. He marched south and captured the strategic fortress of Serdica, which we know today as Sofia, the capital of modern Bulgaria. This was a direct challenge to Byzantine authority, and Nikephoros could not let it stand. The capture of Serdica was a brilliant move. The city controlled the main military road that ran from Constantinople across the Balkans. By taking it, Krum could disrupt Byzantine troop movements and launch raids deep into their territory. Nikephoros was furious. He gathered a massive army, one of the largest the empire had seen in decades. He was so confident of victory that he even brought his entire court and family along to witness the destruction of the Bulgarians. In 811, this huge imperial force marched north, burning and plundering its way into the heart of Bulgaria. They sacked the Bulgarian capital, Pliska, and it seemed as if Nikephoros' dream of total victory was within his grasp. But Krum was a master of strategy. He was not a leader who would meet his enemy head-on in a conventional battle where the Byzantines had the advantage. Instead, he used the terrain to his advantage. As Nikephoros and his triumphant army began their march home loaded with loot, they found their way blocked. Krum had used the time to set a deadly trap. His forces had built massive wooden palisades and dug deep trenches, sealing the exits of the Varbitsa Pass in the Balkan Mountains. The vast Byzantine army, so confident just days before, was now trapped in a narrow valley with no escape. Panic began to set in among the imperial soldiers. Nikephoros realized his dreadful mistake too late. He was surrounded. Legend says that he told his men, even if we grew wings, we could not escape our doom. Krum waited. He let the Byzantines' fear and desperation grow. Then on the morning of July 26, 811, he gave the signal to attack. The Bulgarians swarmed down from the hillsides, raining arrows and spears upon the trapped army. It was not a battle, it was a massacre. The Byzantine force was completely annihilated. It was one of the most catastrophic defeats in the long history of the Byzantine Empire. A stunning victory that sent shockwaves across the medieval world. Among the thousands of Byzantine soldiers who died in the Varbitsa Pass was the Emperor Nikephoros I himself. He became the first Byzantine emperor to be killed in battle for nearly 450 years. His death was a devastating blow to the empire's prestige, but what Khan Krum did next became the stuff of legend. According to the historical chronicles, Krum had the emperor's head cut off. He then had the skull cleaned and lined with silver. He used it as a drinking cup. This was a powerful and terrifying statement. He would drink toasts from the skull of his defeated enemy, a grim warning to anyone who dared to challenge the power of the Bulgarian Khan. This act of turning the emperor's skull into a cup has been debated by historians. Was it a barbaric act of savagery, or was it a calculated political message? In the culture of the steppe peoples from which the Bulgars originated, this was a known tradition. It was the ultimate display of victory and dominance over a fallen foe. For Krum, it was a way of showing both his own people and his enemies that he was now the supreme power in the Balkans. The story spread like wildfire, cementing Krum's reputation as a fearsome and relentless warrior. The psychological impact on the Byzantines was immense. They were now facing an enemy who seemed utterly invincible. With the Byzantine army destroyed and their emperor dead, Krum pressed his advantage. For the next 2 years, he rampaged through the Byzantine province of Thrace, capturing city after city. The new Byzantine emperor, Michael I, tried to stop him, but was defeated in another major battle near Adrianople in 813. The path to Constantinople, the great prize itself, was now open. Krum marched his army to the walls of the legendary city. No Bulgarian ruler had ever come this close to capturing the heart of the Byzantine Empire. He performed pagan rituals outside the city walls, a deliberate act of defiance against the Christian Empire. Krum knew he could not take the city by force. Its walls were simply too strong. So he offered to negotiate a peace treaty. However, the Byzantines tried to assassinate him during the negotiations. Krum was wounded but managed to escape. Enraged by this treachery, he unleashed his fury on the suburbs of Constantinople, burning and looting everything outside the walls. He then returned to Bulgaria, but he was not finished. He began preparing a massive army and huge siege engines, including battering rams and catapults, for a final decisive assault on Constantinople. The fate of the Byzantine Empire hung in the balance. While Khan Krum is most famous for his military genius, he was also a wise and forward-thinking ruler who understood the importance of law and order. To manage his newly expanded empire, which now included many different peoples, like Slavs and Avars, he introduced the first known written law code in Bulgarian history. According to a later Byzantine source, Krum's laws were designed to create a fair and stable society. They were known for being strict but equal. The laws applied to everyone, whether they were a powerful nobleman or a poor peasant, a Bulgar or a Slav. This was a revolutionary idea for its time and helped to unite the diverse population under his rule. Krum's laws targeted the problems that could weaken a state from within. For example, one law imposed harsh punishments for theft, ensuring that people's property was safe. Another law commanded that slander and false accusations should be dealt with severely, promoting honesty and trust within the community. Perhaps the most famous law was one that ordered the uprooting of all vineyards in the country. This was likely an attempt to curb drunkenness and maintain discipline among his warriors. By establishing these clear rules, Krum created a more disciplined and unified state, making Bulgaria stronger not just on the battlefield, but in its very social fabric. Tragically, Krum would never see his final campaign against Constantinople come to fruition. As he was making his final preparations for the grand assault, he died suddenly on April 13, 814. The cause of his death is uncertain. Some sources say it was a stroke or a brain hemorrhage. His sudden death saved Constantinople from what would have been a terrible siege, but his work was done. In just over a decade, he had transformed Bulgaria from a regional power into a major European empire, one that could challenge Byzantium on equal terms. He had doubled its territory, unified its people, and given it a system of laws. Khan Krum's legacy is immense. He is remembered as one of the greatest rulers in Bulgarian history, a national hero who secured his country's place on the map of Europe. His military victories, especially the incredible defeat of Nikephoros I, are legendary. His skull cup became a symbol of Bulgarian power and defiance. But his laws and administrative reforms were just as important, creating the internal strength that allowed the empire to flourish long after he was gone. Krum the Terrible, as he was known to his enemies, was also Krum the lawgiver to his own people, a warrior king who forged a powerful and enduring legacy.